is there a link to a form in the header? It makes sense. It's kind of what you're used to seeing. But whatever the main idea of the website is, there ought to be like a big button for that in the top right corner of the website. And so a lot of times this is request a free quote, schedule an appointment, request product information. So an e-commerce site would be very different. Up there you might have like login, but we're talking about like a lot of websites in the world for small businesses, in any kind of medium or any kind of non-e-commerce site. You're trying to generate some kind of contact, either scheduling an appointment or getting product information. There's always something that you're trying to do.
The first step.
Yeah, the trap that you need to avoid falling into is the problem that happens when you have website editing by committee. It's important to have someone in your organization who's responsible for delivering a good user experience and knows and understands these best practices and can say, hey, wait a second, guys, we've got two different ways for people to do the same thing in the header. We've got a request free quote and a contact form button. You need somebody who can say, hey, let's simplify that. We need to boil it down to one thing. Yeah. And so if that person's kind of advocating, you can work backwards from there and follow best practices. And one of these is just to cut down anything where somebody has to think to make any decisions.
Yeah. You're not giving people options in that case. You're making them do extra work just to move to the next step.
That's right. And it's exponentially more valuable to strip it down because of the tight window of time in which someone's making a decision about whether or not this web page is useful to them. When your web page is loading, I want you to imagine that user is hovering near the back button. They've already given up on you, and you've just got a split second to let them absorb and take in information. They're not going to your website and reading it top to bottom and soaking it in and thinking about the history of your company. What they're doing is saying, do I see what I need? And it's almost like an unconscious thought. So what we want up there in that top right is one button. The trap we've seen people fall into, I mentioned, is when you have a new software like an appointment scheduling, but maybe it doesn't work for everybody in your organization because they're not all in the same system. So you end up with a contact us button or something. When you're talking about that action that you want people to take, a form fill or scheduling, you need to pick a strategy, make it comprehensive for your organization so that you can simplify that touch point with the user. And I like seeing something that's in the button style of the website up there. Whatever your buttons are on your forms, I like seeing that in that top header for that one action that you want people to take.
Makes it stand out.
Yeah. If besides, and we'll talk about phone next, but for that form fill or providing some information or filling in a contact form, I like for that to be one big idea and to have some benefits-oriented text. So don't just say get quote. You can say get free estimate or get free quote. So that word free in there is just another little benefits bit of text. But if you're competing there with yourself with a contact button that just says contact us, you don't need two things in the same style. It's like The Incredibles. If everyone's super, nobody's super. And that's the case with elements in your header. You want every one of them to be unique and special all the way across so that they can do their job as well as possible.
Perfect.